Alright people, you're welcome once again to ISIFE EDUBLOG, where education is fun, learning is fun. Martin Ekpa is my name, and the subject is English. Today we shall continue our work on letter writing, taking on the informal letter. If you've not watched our video on the formal letter, please do, as it is key to understanding this one. We'll be looking at this from the point of view of a continuation of our work. So here we have the formal letter. The formal letter we told you had two addresses, but the formal letter, which is our focal point today, has only one address. The address of the writer, known as the heading. Alright? Now, after the address comes the date. When we were working on the formal letter, I talked about the inclusion of the telephone number. I've written it here boldly because, like I said, we are aware that not too many people know of the inclusion of the telephone number, but we have to start including it so that gradually people will get to know. All right. Now, the telephone number is the last thing after the city or the country, in case your letter is going outside Nigeria. Include the telephone number. I also taught when we worked on formal letter that there is no need for comma, 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 full stop, and all those. There's no need for them. That's why I recommend you to watch our work on the formal letter. Now, the date comes after the address. Remember that the date and the address are two different things, and they fetch marks differently in examinations. So, write our date, 17 November 2022. Because this is an informal letter, November could just be written as NOV. Alright? But if you're writing a formal letter, the month should be written in full. We write this date, not this one. I teach this, I emphasize this, not because this is incorrect. No, this is correct, but it is only limited to a given area. If I write, let me use a lesser day to illustrate what I want to say now. Let me use 10, for instance. Let me use 10. If I write 10/11/22, this means, of course, as you know, 10 November 2022. That is from the ocean in Bayelsa to Sambisa Forest in Borno. Anybody in Nigeria knows that this is 10 November 2022. But you know what? If this letter gets to China, it would have been written on 2010 November 22. That is the problem. Because in China, the year comes first, followed by the month. The day comes last. If this letter gets to the United States, it will be October 11, 2022. Because in that region, the month comes before the day and the year comes last. So to avoid these controversies in date formats, we simply write this way: 17 November 2022. Anybody, anywhere will understand it, whether it is your date format or not. Alright? So, please, that is the basic reason why we talk down on this. If you write this date in Nigeria, it is correct. Look at what we said. Write a letter to your friend at another school describing your own school and activities. This date is correct in this context because this letter is within the country. But I want you to be using this. Get used to it so that anytime, any day, by default, you write your date, whether it is going outside the country or not. You already know what to do. That's the reason I emphasize this. Okay. Having said so, you've written your address, you've written your date. Now it's time. Just before I leave that section, like I said, when we worked on formulator, I had also pointed out, no 17th. You don't need it anymore. Whether the TH is going up or coming down, you don't need it anymore. Alright? Go ahead. 17 November 2022. No comma, no full stop, no TH, no RD, no ST. Alright? Let me tell you this story. I was passing by someday and I saw a signboard. On that signboard, advertising a particular church's crusade. I do not want to mention names. What I saw on the date was 31. I'm telling you the truth. 31. Where does that ever exist in English language? If this person knew that the use of this TH is not even necessary, the use of this ST is no longer necessary, this person would have simply written 31. So why I'm telling you this story is that in decorating these things, you are bound to make mistakes. Leave them. We no longer need them. Your date is simply an adverb of time. So the TH, the ST is not required anymore. Okay. Now, we come to the left side of the page where we have our salutation. We are writing to our friend, but it is still not okay to say, dear friend. I have written, dear Oge, because I have to be precise on which of my friends I'm talking about. You were not born to have just one friend. You could have 25, you could have 2, you could have 3 friends. I really doubt if there is anybody in this world who has just one friend. So to be precise on the friend to whom I'm writing, I've written, dear Oge. This is a better way than dear friend. Even if you're writing to your sister, keep it that way. Dear, mention that sister's name. It's important. Where we might not advocate the inclusion of name is where you're writing to your father. Your father is only one. So, dear father is enough. Dear mother is enough. But your uncle, please make it Uncle Epa, Uncle Harrison. Let the name of the uncle be mentioned. In Africa, we like to give titles. So it should have simply been Dear Epa, but since we know that our elders will always get our respect in that manner, no problem. Dear Uncle Epa, dear Uncle Harrison, we do the job. Okay. Please remember, add the name of your recipient, except when you're writing to your father or mother, there are only one. Then you start the body. Unlike the formal letter, the informal letter has a whole lot of freedom for you. You could use slang, you could use short forms. Slang, meaning that you could simply greet your friend by saying hi. Alright? Hi is an informal greeting. I've often shared this with my students everywhere. You don't respond hi with hello. There are two different greetings. You know, this is formal, this is informal. So you don't greet me hi and I reply you with hello. That will be a way of telling you that I'm not supposed to be greeted hi, I'm not your mate. That's the kind of thing you will be implying. So let hi get hi. Let hello get hello. Because in English, greeting returns itself. Good morning gets good morning. Okay, that's by the way. Let's continue. So you could just be as simple as telling your friend hi. It could be how far, as we usually ask. You know, whether I know the distance or not. You ask how far. It could be what's up. You know, those questions could come up under the informal letter. You could do them. Keep it friendly. Bring up those pet discussions you have in an informal letter. Ask of your friend's health. Ask of their academics. Ask of even their friends. It is part of the informal discussion. Your job here is to write to your friend at another school describing your own school and school activities. That's your job here. After the first paragraph in which you reach your friend, it is expected that from the second paragraph you state the name of your school, the location, the number of blocks, that is the number of buildings at the school, and perhaps how they were planned to bring in aesthetics to beautify the school. You describe the compound. Is it decorated with flowers? Where is your assembly ground? Do you have a swimming pool? Where is your laboratory located? What is the distance from your class to your library? These are some of the things you bring up in describing your school. Then you come to talk of the facilities. You have sports facilities. What kind of sports does your school encourage? You mention them. Then, you describe your teachers. Do you have quality teachers at your school? Is there a teacher you think? Though we know that teachers teach different subjects and are different people, you could still in your head say that this is the teacher I like the most. Whether that teacher is the best at the school or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you are more connected to this teacher than the rest of the teachers. You describe such a teacher and other teachers as a whole. If your school is a private school, you could also go ahead to describe the proprietor. That's the problem with that. The principal. Now, how are these people, this environment, taking you to your academic destination? That is very important. Alright? Tell your friend how conducive your school is and how these people you mentioned are being of help to you as you make your academic journey. Well, I do not like to convince people I simply like to express myself. You are not doing this to convince the other person to come to your school. No. But you are doing this to show your gratitude to your parents for sending you to that school and to the teachers you met, and to say that you are happy where you are. That is the nature of the letter you have been told to write. If your friend is convinced on their own, feel like, I wish to be here, what my friend said is not happening at my school, that is up to them. Alright, don't go dragging people out of their schools to your own. So, that's how it is. On having achieved all of this, we've said, first, describe your school by writing the name, the location, the number of buildings, and the compound, whether it is decorated or left bare, the assembly ground. Then you come to facilities. We said you should talk about the laboratory, the library, how conducive your classrooms are, and then we also talked about the people, the personnel, from the proprietor in case of a private school, or the principal in case of a government school, down to even the cleaners. You could describe them. Of course, if the cleaners get your classes neat, making sure that before you come to school everywhere is sparkling, you've got to acknowledge them. Alright? Then we also advise that you bring up the connection between these people, the environment, and your academic destination. How is the environment and the people helping you to achieve the primary purpose of coming to school? Apart from this, you also will have to talk about your sporting life. Yes, all work and no play, the same makes Mr. Jack a dull boy. So we said you should talk about the sports that your school encourages. If they have 2, 3, 4, mention them, and also discuss briefly what competition you had attended and whether you had won or lost. Even losing is also part of the fun. Don't be shy about discussing your loss if you lost. Talk about your school captain in these different sports and how well they perform. If you do this, by the time you finish doing this, you would have achieved close to the 450 words benchmark. Some students will ask me, how do we count the words? Why I could say in about 450 words, how do you intend to count it? Please don't go counting. I know how you can count it, but it is a waste of your time. You could count by, I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words in a line. And I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 40 lines. Alright? Apart from the broken lines. If a line is broken halfway here, then you need another broken line to add to it to make it that number of words. So count 2 broken lines as 1. And then you multiply by the number of lines you have written. But this is not an exercise for the examination. It is an exercise you do during practice. That period of your preparation for the exam, do the counting. If you are able to do it and you start with 300 words, gradually, if you continue to practice, you notice that in a month's time or 2 months' time, you would have been written 500 words. When you're short of writing 500 words, when given an essay to write or a letter to write, why go counting your words? In fact, you would have even known what quantity of pages you need to write 500 words. while I was at school, I remember that I was able to count. If it is still that way, fine, but I do know that the long note has 32 lines. Alright? That was because I counted it quite often while I was at school practicing letter writing and essay writing, how to achieve 450 words. Please don't try it. Don't go to Waec or Nico Hall and begin to count your words. It's not necessary. It is absolutely unnecessary. Alright? When you come to the closing part, your relationship will be defined. Here you were asked to write to your friend, so have retained it as such. Your friend. Please, it is not yours friend. Though. A noun does not take yours. It is an adverb. Like we say yours sincerely. Sincerely is an adverb. It is the adverb that takes yours. But yours sincerely belongs to the formal letter. Go and study our work on informal letter and you learn all of that. To the formal letter, sorry. Go and study our work on the formal letter. Now, yours friend will amount to wrong English. If it is a noun, your friend, your sister, your daughter, your son, your brother, these are all nouns. They don't take yours. It is an informal letter. So I simply write your friend, Ekpa. That's all. That's all I need. Alright? I do not need to write my name in full. If this friend of yours calls you a particular pet name, go ahead and use that pet name to close the letter. That is the freedom that you have. So use it well. That's it on formal letter. Remember to write your address. The blog address is used today. We don't emphasize any other address anymore. The open address is used today. No longer the era of comma, full stop, and then you begin to fidget whether to put one comma here and one here and all that, or whether the full stop should come here or come here. No, you no longer need it. The telephone number we said is part of the address, and it is the last thing in the address. Your date, we say write your date. 17 November 2022 is what we use there. No comma, no full stop, no th, no rd. Alright? Then the salutation, keep it simple, but make sure the name of the person except your father or your mother is included. Alright? Write the body of your letter well. Try from whatever you can achieve, from 200 to 300, keep practicing and you get to 450 words, which is Waec's benchmark. And then you close with your friend, your sister. There's this word, yours truly. In British English, it is not often used to end letters. You know, yours truly means I myself. Yes, the speaker. Americans use it to close letters, but the British people don't often do that. And I teach the British English, so I don't emphasize it. Thank you so much for being a part of this lesson. Thank you so much for believing in us. ISIFE EDUBLOG will always be bringing you the best. Keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing. We love you.